Well, violence and politics, once again, part of the same conversation, those events in Utah and those events there on Tyne and Weir. Immediately, as Greg said, taking us back to the murders of our own MPs, Jo Cox and Sir David Amess, MPs both murdered while doing their job, meeting constituents, hearing their views, whether they agreed with them or not. President Trump quick to talk about the radical left when speaking about Charlie Kirk last night. But a Democratic politician was murdered in Minnesota in June, and the safety of politicians and those in the public eye seems to be getting more and more fragile. Well, Sir David's daughter, Katie Amess, is kind enough to join us once again on the show this evening. Katie, we've spoken a number of times, and I really appreciate you joining us tonight because you must have seen those events unfold in Utah from your home in the United States and just watch with abject horror at what was unfolding.
Yeah, I mean, it's just utterly heartbreaking, and my thoughts and prayers go out to his family. I've been in tears. I haven't been able to sleep because I know the pain and the heartbreak and the disbelief that they're facing right now. And for his two young children, I mean, I had my dad for 35 years, but his children are tiny, and they're gonna, the rest of their childhood and their teenage years and into adulthood, they're gonna be without him. And it's just, and for his wife, I mean, it's just unthinkable. And I just pray that, they feel loved and supported, and that, we catch the person that did it, and that they get the full sentencing that they deserve.
Yeah, politics aside, this is a young family that is suffering right now. And I wonder what you make of the fact that once again we're talking about political figures. Charlie Kirk, a key influencer and Conservative commentator. I wonder what you make of the fact that we are once again talking about violence with tragic consequences and politics. We're talking about them in the same breath.
Yeah, it just beggars belief, really. I mean, it's 4 years on since what happened to my father, and we don't have any answers as to why it was allowed to happen. I mean, as I keep saying, that his perpetrator was known to the government, he was known to police, he was known to authorities, yet he was let go to go on and commit this terrible atrocity. And I keep speaking up every day, day in, day out, saying we need an inquiry, we need to find out why, so that we can prevent these things happening, because it's just going to happen time and time again. And we need to figure out why it happened, who let him down, and make sure it doesn't happen again. Because unfortunately, I'll be sitting here in 2 months, 3 months, it will just be happening again and again. And we need to break the system open and find out where the failings are, so that we can really prevent another family having to go through this pain.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about motives behind this. I mean, that will all be played out in the full course of time once the perpetrator is caught. That manhunt's still underway, a person of interest identified. But in terms of gun laws as well, in America, of course, that is a real and persistent danger for political figures, particularly in, as you well know, you're immersed in it, you live in the United States, the highly charged rhetoric from both sides of politics, from all sides of politics at the moment. And there is a real feeling that this is the end result of those words and that kind of language.
I mean, it is, because I've seen some disgraceful tweets and rhetoric online, and it just takes one person to actually act upon those things. Nobody should be murdered for their political beliefs. We live in a democracy. It is 2025. We should be allowed to, people in public service should be allowed to meet with their constituents without a feeling of fear. We should have free speech. We should be allowed to say what we think. It's called a discourse. It's called being a normal person. What regular person would think that you can go and murder somebody because they don't believe in the same political beliefs as you? And I just pray that something changes soon, because we're gonna be here time and time again if not.
Yeah. Does it feel to you that it's getting worse, the safety of not just politicians? Charlie Kirk, not an elected politician, he was an activist. He was, somebody that was conservative in America, galvanising young people that aligned with his politics. encouraging them to be politically active, whether you agree with his views or not. You know, encouraging people to take an interest in politics is a good thing. But do you actually think that the safety of those involved trying to do this, speaking their mind, speaking out, is actually getting worse rather than getting better? Nothing is being learned from the loss of life or the damage. I mean, you know, we've seen on Tyne and Wear acts of alleged criminal damage and arson.
I mean, the figures speak for themselves. It is getting worse. And for Charlie, he was just a great example of a young person trying to do good in the world. Whether you believed in his politics or not, he was trying to get young people involved and get them motivated to create change. He wasn't being aggressive. He wasn't being violent. He was literally just saying what he believed in, which is exactly what my dad was doing. And he paid the ultimate price. And it is absolutely disgraceful, and it is heartbreaking for his family and his friends. You know, people see these stories online and they think, oh, it's just somebody behind a TV screen, but this is somebody's son, their husband, their brother, their dad. People need to put themselves in their own situation as if they were a relative of that person and think how they would feel then.
Yeah, a real ugly side effect of what happened is footage circulating widely in the online space of what happened. And I mean, do you think something needs to be done there in terms of, you know, again, the police investigation is ongoing, the political reaction and all of that is to come. But in terms of, you know, what circulates on social media after something of this, I mean, some of it is, I mean, I can't even put it into words. And you know, you think of the family involved here. Is that something that needs to be tackled? Because you're already a few clicks away online from seeing these acts carried out. And that just feeds into this poisonous vitriol that whips up this kind of sentiment and results in, you know, the scenes that we're witnessing.
I mean, that is disgraceful that the footage is being allowed to be viewed online. If that was your husband, would you want the whole world seeing his last moments, which should be a very private moment? Unfortunately, he was assassinated very publicly. If you are watching this footage as well, you are playing into this narrative that all is fair game. And I think that there needs to be censorship around that. Anybody that has a little bit of a motive to do something bad, they're going to watch that and think, oh, wonderful, I can do something and I can get it publicized and the whole world can see what I did. That should be taken down immediately. It is nobody's business apart from his family's what happened in those final moments. And my heart just breaks that that is being viewed for people's pleasure, basically, and just to see what happened.
Yeah. Just a final thought. Obviously, you are following this from the United States. I'd be interested to know what the reaction is at the moment amongst, anecdotally, people you've spoken to and also broadcasters and the media there in terms of this is still an ongoing police investigation, but politics has been brought into it immediately. What's the sort of mood like?
I mean, people on both sides are saying things and pointing fingers at each other, but I think we need to just think about it from a human perspective. And there is utter disbelief that something like this could happen in front of so many people, and children saw it as well. And we need to respect the privacy of his family. They will be absolutely distraught and unable to process what has happened. And I think we all just need to take a step back and just be calm and think about it from a human perspective and mourn the loss of a great person that was actually trying to help society, rather than everybody getting into arguments with each other and more hatred being spread through that.
Yeah. Katie, thank you so much for joining us on the UK Tonight. Always really appreciate your time, particularly when we are talking about the most difficult aspect of your life, and now you're watching another family go through the same thing, which I'm sure is, you know, re-traumatising for you. So I really appreciate you coming on to raise awareness of why it's so important to talk about this as a counteracting view to what we're seeing unfold. Katie Amess, thank you.